Hey y'all, Purpose Girl here. I am so glad to be back with you again another night. And I need to let you know that I am failing so epically on facing poverty, that part of the challenge this week. It's day one, and when I say it is epic, it is such an epic fail. And I think part of the reason why I am failing so epically is because so a lot of the work that I do is from home because I have an independent ministry. And so a lot of the work I do is from home. So kind of just being in a rhythm of being on my phone, sending emails and text messages about work and, looking at my calendar on my phone to, coordinate dates and different things, when I get requests, appointments and engagements and just all the different things that I do. I mean, today I was looking some things up for a women's retreat that I'm planning. I was doing several things on my computer, on my phone. And so I was just going back and forth. So when social texts came through, it's like I didn't click it off in my mind that I'm not, supposed to be doing that. And I kind of just, just automatically just responded, yes, no, whatever. And didn't even realize it until after. But when I say I have been epically failing on this part of the challenge, epic, 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 epic. So I don't know how it's going to work to do the facing poverty with technology, no technology at home. I don't know if that is something that I am going to be successful with. But I know that I am willing to limit what I am doing on my phone, because in those moments when I am not using my phone a whole heap, I feel free. I feel untethered. Let me say that. That's the exact word I want to use. I feel untethered. So I like that feeling. And so I will limit it, but there's so much that I do at home. Even for my job at my school, I do a lot from home. So and I'm the type of person that when there's a task, whether I'm in my office or not, I'm going to get it done. So that's a challenge. That's a challenge, but I am going to try to limit it and to really kind of make that distinction between what's social. The other thing is that I have people, I do a lot of my communication via text, and so people will be reaching out to me, and I don't want to ignore them. I don't want to ignore them, but I'll see how it all works out. I'll try. I'm not making any promises that I'm going to be good at it, but I'm going to try. This weekend was very interesting for me. I received a lot of encouragement this weekend. I received a lot of thank yous this weekend. Something, a role that I play at my church, kind of was center stage on Saturday. And so, I had a lot of people encouraging me, thanking me, acknowledging my anointing and what have you. And I really internalized that differently than I have in the past. And, in a subsequent video, I will talk about the lure of achievement and I guess a hitch for people who are achievers by nature, which I am. But I have been very, very intentional about how I internalize gratitude, praise, thanks, acknowledgement of my calling. I've been very, very intentional about how I think about that and how I internalize it, because I never want it to become the end all be all, the thing that I need, because people will not always offer you that, and people will not always see you, and people will not always thank you. And what God has been saying to me in this season is that whether you get the thank you or not, whether they acknowledge your calling, your anointing or not, whether you feel appreciated or not, a calling, a purpose, an anointing is not something you can put on when you feel like it and take it off when you feel like it. So I'm very intentional about not needing man's approval or acknowledgement or gratitude for me to continue to feel purposeful, fulfilled in what I'm doing. And so this weekend, it was very interesting. This was the first time in a long time that I experienced approval, acknowledgement, gratitude, but I internalized it in a different way. And I'm grateful for that. The other thing is, I had to say thank you to God today because, as you know, I've been telling you as I've been on these 21 days, I've been telling you that I have been in a bit of a funk. And there were a lot of things that went into that. I was thankful to my husband on Friday night. I wasn't on with you guys on Friday night, but when I got home from my event on Friday night, I was able to kind of talk through what was going on with me and what I was feeling and what I was experiencing and the deep emotion that I was experiencing that I could not access before because I did not have a moment to think about it. And so in that, I recognized what was causing my funk. And God this weekend, part of what was causing my funk is that I was wondering, does anything that I do matter? Sometimes when you are in the middle of an initiative or something that you're doing and you don't necessarily see the gains or the support. Like right now, I'm on YouTube. No one's on currently. Someone, you may be watching this in playback, and thank you so much if you do decide to watch the video. But right now, no one is on. And so, you could wonder, does this even matter? No one's accessing it or taking advantage of it or even notices it. So does it matter? And this weekend, God was able to show me what you do absolutely matters because faithfulness is enough. And what I will do with your faithfulness will blow your mind. And that was very important for me coming out of my funk and recognizing. And, it's a cycle. I cycle back into it, over time. But the acknowledgement, the gratitude, the things that I received this weekend, I internalized it different. I didn't latch on to it like, oh, they like me. I realized God was sending me a message. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep going in the direction you're going in. Faithfulness is enough. I will bless your ministry. People are touched by it. It does make a difference. It matters. And that was something I needed this weekend. And I didn't even know that I needed it because, like I said, Friday night was the first time I was able to even access my emotion and where it was coming from. Because I knew I was feeling weird and funky, but I didn't know exactly what was causing it. And piece by piece, it was coming out. But when I was able to say it all and to put it all together, God had already set things in motion to confirm for me that your ministry matters and you are enough and faithfulness is enough. So my big thank you is to God that he would even lower himself enough to talk to me and to reassure me and to comfort me in a moment when I was experiencing a little bit of discomfort. With that said, I want to jump into our last, number 5, our last step in the forgiveness process. And that step is something that you shouldn't do rather than something that you should do. So step 1 was acknowledge the infraction. That's something you should do. Who did it? What'd they do? Acknowledge the infraction. Step 2 was acknowledge your emotion. Just like I did on Friday night, I took a moment to process with my husband, and I'd been processing it a little bit by myself before I got home so that when I spoke to him, what was in my head started pouring out. But I was able to acknowledge the emotion that I was feeling around different things. And I took the time to be intentional about what am I feeling and why? Because it's coming out like frustration, but hurt masquerades as several different things. And so, I was feeling hurt about some things. So, acknowledge your emotion, figure out what you are actually feeling. Step 3 is pray for yourself, pray for the situation, pray for the perpetrator. Don't pray on the perpetrator. Don't tell God what you want him to do to them. Don't ask God to move them out of the way or strike them down. Don't do what David was doing in some of those Psalms. He was cussing people, asking God to break their teeth, and surely there's a place for that. Don't get me wrong. There's a place for that. When God stands up and fights for his people, it's so powerful. But we get so much more power over our situation when we begin to pray for the situation, for the person, and for ourselves, because then we are able to see the situation, internalize the situation differently. Step 4, yesterday we talked about it, address the perpetrator. And I want to make sure I make the note again. If someone has done something to you that was violent, if the situation is dangerous, do not address the perpetrator. That would put you in harm's way, and that is not what I'm suggesting. But if it's just something where someone said something hurtful, or, it's friction in a relationship, address the perpetrator. Talk to them about what happened. Set boundaries around your relationship. Let them know what you're really feeling, because now you've accessed the emotion in step 2, and now you've prayed for the situation. You see things differently. So now you can approach the perpetrator in a calm manner and address the actual behavior and how you felt and what was going on. And that gives you and the perpetrator an opportunity to work it out. And that is a biblical concept. And I've taken advantage of it, and I see where God has blessed. But step 5 is don't punish the perpetrator. All of the other steps were things you needed to do. Step 5 is something you need to not do. And a lot of times when someone does something to harm us, we feel the need for vengeance, and we may not take it out on them by doing something to them, but we may take it out by withholding our love for them. We may take it out by cutting and running. We may take it out by silence, the silent treatment, not talking to them. We may put our husbands on the couch instead of sleeping in the bed with us. There are different things. Sometimes we withhold our love and affection and emotion from our children to let them know that we're upset at them. That, in the case of children, that is actually abuse, neglect. But don't punish the perpetrator, because what actually happens when we think we're punishing the perpetrator, we're actually punishing ourselves. Eastern medicine shows that when we experience things like resentment, hate, anger, we experience things in our internal organs. And so anger, I believe, messes with your liver. I want to say that's what it is. Did I write it down? I think I might have talked about this when we first got into these videos, but I do not have it here readily available. But Eastern medicine does show us that there are certain emotions that are tied to certain I'm really trying to find it now, because I would love to just give you the right information. But so don't quote me on which organs, but Eastern medicine believes that there are specific organs that are affected when we experience specific emotions. And so anger, resentment, unforgiveness, hate, it affects us in our body. Recently, Brene Brown was sharing, I believe it was on a Super Soul Sunday with Oprah Winfrey. She was sharing that after enough build up and pushing emotions down and pushing hurt down and pushing vulnerability down, some people's bodies give out on them, because their body is like, I can't take this anymore. And so that's in line with that Eastern medicine saying, hey, if you just keep building up hate and resentment, your body, your organs are going to say, we're done. We can't do anymore. And your body is going to tell the story that you refuse to tell. So don't punish the perp, because really what you're doing is you're drinking the poison. You think you're poisoning them, but half the time the perpetrator is not even thinking about you. Not even thinking about you. They have done whatever thing they did or said. Sometimes they don't even know that they hurt you. Secondly, sometimes they do know and they could care less because they don't care for you. And they're not thinking about you anymore, but you're over here your body is suffering, your mind is suffering, you can't sleep, all this craziness because you think you're punishing them by holding on to this, and really you're punishing yourself. The second reason why you don't want to um, punish the perp with unforgiveness is that if you don't forgive, God doesn't forgive you. For me, that's all I need to hear. Hey, because I need that thing. I need that like I need breath, like I need life, like I need water, like I need food. I need forgiveness to survive because I'm a jerk. Like, plain and simple. I make mistakes. I do jerky things. And I need God's forgiveness in my life because I don't get it right every time. And so the thought that in me not offering someone forgiveness, that he would not offer it to me, that means I'm lost eternally. I don't get to spend eternity with Jesus. Nope, not worth it. There is nothing that anyone has done to me that is worth me losing my place in the kingdom. So those are the two major reasons why you don't want to punish the perp. Number one, it punishes you in two ways. The first way is that it can manifest in your body and definitely in your mental health. But then also, it can manifest itself in you not getting forgiveness from God. It can also shut down your creativity and your productivity. So there are so many reasons why you shouldn't punish the perp, because really it just punishes you. And that's how we stay free. God made us free. He made us free by dying on the cross and offering us life, salvation, forgiveness, all the things he's offered. That makes us free. We are free from, oh, did I get it right? Oh, did I do this? Did I keep this law? Did I do this? This is why we don't have to keep billions of law that Moses gave out, because God freed us from that. And sure, he wants us to live a good life. He wants us to follow the 10 commandments, because in the 10 commandments is life and love and light and the best way to live. But we don't have to, oh, I didn't get it right. Oh, I got to do it. Oh no, we don't have to live like that. We're free because Jesus freed us. But when we jam up our own forgiveness by not offering it to someone else, then we're bound again. So just remember, from purpose girl to you girl, you are free, and forgiveness helps you stay free. Have a good night, everyone.